Hi everyone. I wanted to film a video before I go to bed to share on my YouTube channel. It's sort of what I would share with you from life lessons and practical experience of a few of the skill sets that I rely on that you could use yourself to help get through the present virus. I'm not out to give medical advice about this, but this is just sort of how life plays out for me and what I see that someone could take and use in their own life that would be helpful and beneficial. So one of the first items that I think about has to do with meals. So a few months ago, I made out this list of 12 items. The types of items that are on here are what I'm going to have for breakfast oatmeal cookies, the types of flavors, what I want to have for snacking food, like granola bars and trail mix, and then it gets into what I'm going to want for meals that freeze well. Things like soups, stews, and things like turkey dinner or having meatballs, brown rice, and frozen vegetables. It gives a plan, and then you work out the ingredients for it, then you multiply it by 2 or 3, and you have a well thought out, methodical grocery list that is not gonna pursue impulse buying. It's that logic's gonna drive your decisions of shopping, because there's not new money available for you to start impulse buying to feel like you have control over your life, when part of it right now is there's this big unknown going on. Only for me, there's been a big unknown for most of the past decade where I've been living in contingency plans. So this going on in the world really doesn't upset my plans too much. So that's sort of how I handle food, and more specifically, I've been going online to a grocery store where you pick up the groceries at the store. So I've been using Walmart Canada's buy online, pick up at store for the groceries, and I just select the various items and then choose a date and time, and it works out really well. And the Walmart staff have been bringing out the groceries to the vehicle for the person that drove me there to get it, and we come back to my home and I've got the shelf space, the fridge space, and the freezer space for this to work out well. When you are buying this much food in advance, you need to be strategic about purchasing already frozen meat, or you're planning to cook the day that it comes home, the next day, and the third day, so that the meat won't spoil and all of a sudden you've wasted your money. I will share a bit of a humorous side story with this. I like to be honest, and periodically I screw up. Back with December's order, I got the email in the morning that the groceries were ready for pickup, and I thought that's fine. I've got my friend lined up for tomorrow. About 4 hours later, I had a phone call from one of the Walmart managers asking what happened to me, and I was supposed to have been there that day and not the next day. Anyway, screwed up. When I was doing the selection for the date and time, I kind of went cross-eyed and selected the wrong column and messed things up a little bit by one day. It was easy to resolve though, and wasn't a big deal. I suppose that's kind of what a lot of this comes down to for me. It helps to have a vision. It helps to have a plan. But you can't be so rigidly in your plan that if the circumstances change, that you can't then be flexible and change course and be able to adapt what you've already aiming for to what's happening in life and responding to what's going on around you. Thankfully, I find this easy to do overall. It does take some planning. If you get me when I'm tired, you can frustrate me, but wake up the next day and, it's much easier to roll with. And that's kind of helped me through my medical treatment. And it's a very honest statement. Aiming for the best, but being realistic when things don't go well, or you have to figure out what now. I would remind you that we do well when we exercise. It's part of our mental health, that physical fitness. So I would encourage you, to the best of your ability, to work out a small exercise program at home. One idea would be doing sit-ups or push-ups on your bed. It would be a comfortable surface to work on. Another idea would be grabbing, a few cans from the kitchen and, doing weights like this, or if you're going at the sides. There's all kinds of options. Another one would be getting a stretchy belt and putting it around, your thighs and your quad muscles and pushing out, or getting a pillow between your legs and pushing in, or a coffee can. It's one way of exercising your legs where you don't have to have all kinds of motions. So what I'm hinting at is, just because you've got a physical disability doesn't exclude you from the ability to exercise and the benefit it gives you to your life. So I would genuinely encourage anyone who's able, even if you start at 5 minutes and you just gradually build up, it will help you in your life, even with things like finding it easier to have a bowel movement. The physical exercise is part of it that prevents constipation. And certainly, again, it's a very honest answer, but that is one of the strategies when I sat down with the dietitian, was to make sure that I was doing something that kept my body physically moving to avoid constipation. Instead of being responsive, it's being proactive. I would also remind you of the value of face-to-face communications, that the relationship value is so important. So using programs like Skype or other video chat options, they're there. And if you're in isolation, it's a way that you don't have to feel so alone, that you can still connect with people, and that you can still be living your life. And I think the final skill that I would suggest, and this is just a suggestion, would be to consider either poems or writing short stories, or spending time each day intentionally writing a card and mailing it to someone to encourage them. It would take the focus off of you and help your balance be reasonable, instead of being inward and feeling anxious or feeling isolated. If you're writing a card to someone and it's to encourage them, it's going to help you tweak that focus that will help keep you, from sort of closing down and drawing inward. And certainly encouraging people is another one of the strategies that has worked for me, and I would certainly recommend it. Now, I know that there's times when you may be hurting and you still need support, but there's still an opportunity to give from where you're at right now. Okay? I'm only wanting the best for each of you in your lives. And I would encourage you also to not lose the plot of what the bigger picture is. There have been bad things happen in the world. There's likely bad things that will happen again. But for the most part, we keep going in lives just sort of one day after another, and just keep pressing forward. And that's kind of the message of hope that I wanted to give those who will see the video. I hope each of you are doing okay today. Thanks for your time. Bye for now.